Okay, touch the leg and good morning. I welcome you to the second week. Okay, so in this week, we are going to have the same 4 sessions. And in the first session, Gedensula and myself will be doing the recapitulation. Okay, yes. So before I do the recapitulation, okay, now before we do the recapitulation, okay, you must have seen through the Shirik Facebook, Department of Education, we normally upload our lessons and topic 2 days in advance. Okay, so there is a reason behind this. We want the students to just go through the topics that will be, which is coming in 2 days, and you just do from your part, you just do a small, which is homework of your own. And then when you attend this live online English class, then when we start teaching, sometimes you may be having more, saying on the topic, or sometimes we may make some mistake, okay? And you may also learn more from ourselves. So like this, if you come, doing some homework in advance, then this lesson would go much better, okay? So in the comment section, you can also share your opinion about this. So, okay, we have already uploaded the topics 2 days in advance. So, tomorrow there will be one more, 4 sessions. And after that, we are going to come again in the next week. Now, in the next week also, we are going to share the topics and the title 2 days in advance. Okay, so you just go through what were the topics that will be, taught in the coming session. So accordingly, you just do your homework. Okay, yes. So as I say, this first session, we are going to do all the recapitulation about all the lessons that we have done in the previous 4 sessions. Okay, yes. So if you remember, what are the topics that we have done? We have done the parts of speech in the first session, and then we have done the verb forms, and then in the last 2 sessions we have done the different types of sentences. Okay, yes. Now one thing I want you to keep in mind, we are not here to teach the specific class, for example, class 5 and 6 and 7 like this. And we are not here to teach the textual, topics. Okay, yes. For example, class 5 have got different topics, literature topic. Class 6 has got different topic, class 7 like this. Now, whatever we are teaching through this online is, we are teaching the learning standards of English. When we talk about English, what are the things that you should be keeping in mind? We are not going to test your textual knowledge, asking so many questions, but basically when it comes to language, any language, particularly in English, there are some things that you have to keep in mind. For example, if I'm learning English, what are the things that you should be checking? So we are just touching all these important learning standards, okay, that will be in a English guidelines and framework, okay, which will be implemented in all the schools. Okay, so if you pay attention to all the topics that we cover during these 8 weeks, okay, I want you to take note of all the topics that we are covering. For example, so far we have done parts of speech, we have done the verb forms, we have also done the types of sentences. Now, these are the topics that you should be doing, even if you are in class 9 and 10, class 6, 5, no matter which class you are in, you just try to recapitulate. Okay, I'm supposed to know these are the learning standards, parts of speech. Now, how many, how much I do in the parts of speech? Am I good in this? Where should I work on? For example, verb forms, how am I doing in verb forms? Okay, now these are the things that you should be doing recapitulation on your own. Okay, so this topic becomes a very good reminder. So I highly recommend all the students, okay, no matter what class, what standard you are in, I want you to go through this, and you just, it will just give you a good recapitulation, okay? Yes. Now, coming back to the topic, okay? So this first session, we are going to do the recapitulation of what we have done in the first week. Now, those of you who have missed the first session, okay, now we are going to do some recapitulation. We'll be doing some exercises, okay? Yes. So if you reflect on what we have done, in the first week, we have started the parts of speech. So you talk about any language, so we have to start from the grassroots, okay? Now first comes the parts of speech, and we have already covered this topic in our first session. So in English, there are 8 parts of speech, and we have already done this. So today I'm going to give you one exercise to see which is how much you have understood, whether you are able to recognize these parts of speech in all the sentences that you come across. Okay, yes. And if you remember the next session, I talked about verb forms. So verb forms, verb is one of the most important parts of speech, okay? In Tibetan language, in Chinese or Hindi, whichever language you are talking about, it's very important for you to learn about the verb forms, okay? You also, what you say, take online Tibetan classes. So in the classes, which is Gela used to talk about the verb forms, which plays very important in sentences. Okay, yes. And the third one we did, it was types of sentences. Okay, we have also done this. Now, those who have missed this, you can just go through the videos which are already uploaded, and you just go through this. Okay, and the third one is types of sentences. So basically, in the first week, we just focus on all these basic things. Now, if you look at this, no matter where you are, whether you are in class 5 or class 6, class 7, class 8, whichever class you are, all these things are necessary. You have to know this, parts of speech, verb form, types of sentences. But yes, there will be a difference. What will be the difference? Of course, there will be a difference in the difficulty level. Okay, class 5 students should be knowing all these things. Class 6 students should be knowing this. But what is the difference? The only difference is the difficulty level will change. I will give you just an example of an apple. What is this? This is an apple. Now, everybody has to eat apple. Okay, yes. No matter whether you are small or adult or big or like this apple. Now, what I'm going to do for the small children, I will just cut a small slice of apple and then give it to the small. Okay, yes. And then the middle one, then adult. Now, suppose if you are grown up and adult, now there's no need for me to cut the apple into pieces. You can easily, enjoy the apple with your bites, okay, with a big bite like this. So at the end of the day, what happens? The apple is eaten by everybody, whether you are small or middle or adult like this. So same thing can be applied in these learning standards. You got it? Okay, yes. So we are going to do the recapitulation. I'll be doing the parts of speech and the verb forms, and Gedenchola will do the recapitulation of the different types of sentences. Okay, yes. So let us go. Okay, yes. So recapitulation, parts of speech and verb form, you see, class 5, 6, 7, 8, all these things. What is the difference? The difficulty level, it becomes broader and broader, but basically it's all same. Okay, yes. Now, let us see. Students' work unedited. Now, here is a sample of student work, but remember, these are the, composition I received from my students during the lockdown. Okay, the class 6, I got it in May month, and class 8, I got it in June month. Okay, they send these composition to me, and here it's just an excerpt from what they have written. Okay, class 6, on the left side you will see the work of class 6, and on the right side you will see the work of class 8, my student. But remember, I have just typed whatever I have received from the WhatsApp. So there will be no addition done, and this is just a raw form. I know there are so many mistakes, and everything is done purposely. Okay, so no addition has been done here. So that is the thing that you have to keep in mind. Okay, now I just want you to look at the work of class 6 and class 8. By looking at this, you will get some idea, okay, the amount of the sentences in a paragraph. Okay, look at the class 6 composition. You just count the number of the paragraphs, and you just look at the composition of class 8. You see the paragraph, okay, the length of the paragraph differs. Okay, but whether you are in class 6 or whether you are in class 8, the student know how to write. Okay, they may be following the different types of paragraph writing, which of course we'll be doing in the next session. Okay, yes. So look at this. Now, accordingly, there are so many things we are going to study. Okay, so remember we have done the 8 parts of speech. Okay, yes. So I want you to do some kind of identification. Okay, yes. Now let us study this composition one by one. Okay, the first class 6. Okay, this is the composition written by class 6. So those of you who are in the class 6, you just go through this, and this is the article written by one of your one of your classmates, okay, one of your same student who are studying in the same standard. Okay, I want you to go through this and try to identify the nouns she has used in this. Okay, and also try to see what are the in which style she has written this small that composition. Okay, I want you to go through this and try to either underline or try to recognize, identify the nouns used in this. Okay, I'm not going to spend much time in later. Okay, you can pause and you just do your exercise. Okay, let us see the the nouns she has used. Okay, now all these highlighted, they are nouns. Okay, you can also count, okay, how many, just for example, in this small composition, how many nouns are used by class 6 student. Okay, yes. Now, and in the noun, we have got so many. What kind of noun? Did she use ordinary noun, or did she try to use the higher form of noun like ing form, or just other abstract noun, or this thing? Okay, now you just go through this. Okay, yes. Now this is noun. Let us go further. Okay, now in this, I want you to underline or identify all the adjectives used by class 6 student. You just try to see what are the adjectives a class 6 student normally use in their own composition. Okay, you just try to, you go through this and try to identify the adjectives. In the adjective, you see there are so many types of adjective. This student, what type of adjective did she use? Did she use all the ordinary adjective, or did she try to go beyond the text, or thinking out of the box and try to introduce different adjective? Now these are the things that we should, this is how we build up our own skills. Okay, instead of staying at the same standard, this is how you improve your writing. Okay, identify. Let us see. Okay, now these are the adjectives. Now what type of adjective did she use at when a student of class 6? What are the adjectives? And in the adjective, I told you, if you know all the basic adjectives, then don't stay like this, and you just go and try to see the other types of adjectives, the different. Okay, yes, ing form adjective, participle adjective. There are so many adjectives. Now try to use this in your writing. Okay, yes. It doesn't mean that a class 6 student should write all this thing and he or she should not go beyond that. No, there is no limit. There is no compartment tight, learning like this. A class 6 student can write better than class 8, 9, provided that he or she just, keep practicing. Okay, yes. So these are adjective. Let us talk about other one. Okay, this is conjunction. So conjunction, what is a conjunction? Conjunction is a word which joins either a word or a phrase or a sentences. Okay, so congestion. Now when we talk about congestion, let us try to see, okay, what are the congestions used by this class 6 student. Okay, yes, I want you to look at the same piece of writing, okay, the same one. I'm just using this as the example of the sample. Okay, yes. Now these are some of the conjunctions. Okay, in the conjunction there are so many types. Now class 6 student, if you look at the conjunction she has used, do you remember the acronym I used? Okay, yes, this is the simple one, fanboys. So this is a conjunction, the simple, the last, the lowest level like this. Okay, fanboys. You have to. This is just an acronym. Okay, yes. For, and, no, but, or, yet, so. Okay, yes. Now these are. Now if you look at this composition, she has used all these conjunction. Now if she really wants to improve more, I as a teacher, now what kind of advice will I give? I will just encourage her and then I will try. Okay, now as far as these fanboys are concerned, you are doing pretty well. Okay, so what do you do if you need some challenge? Okay, if you want to develop, if you want to build on that, then you just try to focus on different types of adjectives. There are more adjectives other than the fanboys. Okay, yes, we will come to this when we talk about the composition of class 8 student, and you will definitely see the difference. Okay, yes. So this is about the conjunction. Okay, what about the helping verb and linking verb? Okay, in the forms of verb, linking verb and helping verb. Okay, yes. Now you just try to study all the words which are highlighted. Okay, you just see. Okay, whether this is linking verb or helping verb. I just want you to take some time here and try to identify. Most of the linking verb and helping verb are same. Okay, now by looking at the sentence, okay, by looking at some particular words, we can easily identify whether this word is helping verb or whether this is linking verb. Okay, I want you to go through this and try to tell me, okay, whether all these highlighted word is linking verb or helping verb. Yes, you just go through this. Any idea? Okay, yes, I'm sure you all have got your own version. Okay, yes. So this is not a helping verb, this is a linking verb. Now, how can I say, because if you look at the sentence, you just try to identify whether there is any verb or not. If there is no principal verb in that particular sentence, then that word is linking verb. It is not a helping verb. If it is a helping verb, there should be one principal verb in it. Now, if you look at all the sentences one by one, you will not find the main principal verb present in that particular sentence. I'm not talking about all the sentences. I'm talking about the sentence where the verb was highlighted. Okay, so all these are linking verbs. Okay, yes. Now, this is the composition, okay, of class 8 student. Okay, the same composition that I've shown you in the beginning. I want you to go through this, and now we are going to do the same thing in this composition too. Okay, yes. Now, what are these? I've highlighted all these things. Now, you just take your time and then tell me what part of speech did I show here. Okay, all the the highlighted words. Okay, yes, you take your time, you can have a discussion and try to see, is it adjective, is it verb, is it adverb, is it noun, or is it conjunction? What are these? Okay, yes, now these are noun. Now you just compare class 6 student, what are the nouns used by class 6 student, and what are the nouns used by class 8 student. Okay, definitely you will see some difference. So I told you, now all these parts of speech, no matter whether you are in class 5 or 6, it's all applied to all the classes. Now what will be difference? The difficulty level, the choice of the word, this will change. Now, this is how we build, this is how we are, trying to build our curriculum. So, curriculum, the basic thing is already present. If you look at this part of speech will be found in all the, what should I say, from class 5 to 8. But there will be different, what should I say, difficulty level. Okay, now this is class 6. Look at the nouns. By now, class 8 students know different types of noun. Okay, yes, not just the simple noun, collective noun, which is a proper noun. Okay, now there are other forms of nouns. Okay, so that is a bit challenge. So this is how you build up. Okay, yes, when you go up like this. Okay, now next, I want you to go through this and let us see this one. Okay, yes, I have highlighted some words here. Now go through this, okay, and try to identify, okay, what part of speech did I highlight here? Okay, yes, the first one was, of course, noun. Now look at this. What did I trying to show? What am I trying to show? Okay, what am I trying to highlight all these things? Yes, while, due to, and, due to, as, for, there are so many words. Okay, yes. Now what are these words? Now whenever you come across a piece of writing, now you have to be able to identify, okay, all the parts of say, okay, this is noun. You look at this, then it stays in this. This is adjective. This is adjective. Why? Because you look at the position. It stays, what should I say, which are before the noun. Okay, so this is adjective. This is where the adjective should stay. Okay, now these are things that you should be knowing. Okay, now this is for your kind information, which is a conjunction. Okay, conjunction is the word which joins word, phrase or sentence. Now in the beginning I have shown you the conjunctions used by class 6 student. Now this is the conjunction used by class 8 student. The same conjunction. Okay, now you see, since one student in class 8, now he has built the difficulty level. The words he has chosen, she has chosen is totally different. Now, instead of fanboys, although fanboys are there, which are basic, you will come across which is other types of conjunction. For example, while. Okay, for example, due to. For example, for. Now, these are the difficulty level of the conjunction. Now, this is how we see the difference. Class 6 student, which is a composition, and class 8. Look at the conjunction. You got it? Okay, yes. Now, which is a this one. Okay, yes, I have highlighted some words here, the same thing. Okay, some are helping verb and some are which is a linking verb. Okay, now I want you to go through this. You just give it a very beautiful reading. Okay, and try to identify which are linking verbs and which are helping verbs. I'm sure you are, you know what linking verb and what helping verb is by now. Okay, now let me see how many of you do this. How many of you have kept in mind? Okay, yes, you take your time and try to identify which words, okay, are the linking verb and which verbs are helping verbs. Yes. Yes? Okay, now what about the blue words? Okay, the words which are highlighted in blue. Okay, what are these called? Are these called linking verb or are these called helping verb? Yes? Okay, yes. Now they are linking verbs. They are linking verbs. Okay, whenever there is a highlighted word, you just try to go through each and every word in that sentence and try to see whether there is any principal verb or not. If there is no principal verb, that particular word is working as a linking verb. It links. Okay, its main function is to link. Okay, yes. So those which are highlighted in red, okay, what are they called? They are called helping verb. Because if you carefully look at all the words in that particular sentence, definitely you will see one principal verb. Okay, so that what should I say, highlighted word is a helping verb. Okay, for example, let me take an example. While living in a 21st century, the world is changing every second. Whether which is the technology, facility or internet. I told you there will be some mistake. Okay, so pardon me. Okay, now is The is can be a linking verb and is can be a helping verb. Now, in that particular sentence, is a helping verb. Now, why is it helping verb? If you look at this sentence, you will find one principal verb. Okay, what is the principal verb? The principal verb is changing. I told you there are different forms of verb. We have got change, we have got changing ing form, we have got change. Now, there are different types of verbs. Okay, now this is a principal verb. So, is a helping verb because it changes, okay, the nature of the principal verb. Okay, it also changes the time. Okay, yes, here it is. Now, if I use was, okay, then it what should you say? The time changes. Okay, the world is changing, the world was changing, the world will be changing. Now, because of all these things, what happens to the verb? The verb changes according to the time. You got it? Okay, yes. Okay, now I'm going to stop here. Okay, yes, I've just given you the example of what should I say, the class 6 student work and class 8 student. Okay, I want you to go through the slides. Okay, yes, for the last one. Okay, yes, here I've given you the example of, I'm going to stop here with the conjunction. Okay, I want you to go through the different conjunction. Okay, on the left side, class 6, on the right side, class 8, you just see the different types of conjunction. Here you see the simple conjunction, and class 8, there are more, what should you say, conjunctions used here. Okay, yes. Now, I'm going to stop here and Getanjala will continue. Okay, yes. Thank you.
Hello, welcome back. And now that Gedin Stargila had already reviewed parts of speech and verb forms that we discussed last week, I'm here to discuss with you the sentence types. So, the type of sentences that we discussed with you last week. Okay, so a quick recap and review of the different sentence types. So, are you all ready? Okay. So, before we look at the different types of sentences, I'm going to discuss some of the questions, or one or two questions I think that I found in the comment box for, like in the last week's video lessons. So, the first one is about predicate. So, last time we discussed about sentence. And then maybe like some of you thought that you have heard about subject and predicate when you learned about sentence. So, in our lesson last week, we talked about subject and verb and we didn't discuss about predicate. So, some of you, I feel like you are a little confused about the existence of predicate or why it was not discussed. So, predicate, okay, is a part of sentence or clause that contains a verb and states something about the subject. So, we talked about subject and verb, and predicate is the part of the clause sentence that contains the verb. Okay, let me just give you a very simple example. Okay. Okay, say suppose Pema is singing a song, Norbu likes football. So Pema is the subject here. Pema is the subject, is singing a song. So you have already learned about the auxiliary verb, the helping verb, right? Is singing, the present participle. Pema is singing a song. So what is the subject doing? Pema is the subject and she is singing a song. So this part, so if we talk in terms of predicate, this is the predicate. So this part I am discussing keeping Weaver's query in mind, right? So last time when we discussed about subject and verb because our focus was more on verb and then later on types of sentences. So Pema is singing a song. This whole phrase is singing a song becomes the predicate of this sentence. Is it clear now? Norbu likes football. So Norbu is the subject here. Now this is the verb here. Norbu likes football. This part is predicate. So I'm sure the doubt regarding why predicate was not discussed is clear now. Subject and predicate forms the part of a sentence. Okay. So next question was on participles. So we talked about the first form of verb, second form of verb and third form of verb, and so I talked about participles. So there was one question about what actually a participle is, right? So for this, I first want you to learn about, not learn about, just think about gerund. I discussed, I think, in one of the session last week because there was again one question on gerund. And then I found that some of you are confused between a participle and a gerund. Okay. So that's why I am taking this part. So the participle actually is a verb form, okay, and it can take or it can work as an adjective, or we can say it has the power. Okay, participle has the power to act as a verb as well as an adjective, and in some cases it may act like an adverb. So gerund actually is a verb acting like a noun, okay, functioning like a noun. So to just make it simple, let me give you another example. So some of you have seen a mobile app, a game. I don't know if you play these days or not. I remember young kids playing with the app, Talking Tom. Do you remember that? Talking Tom. So here, so what is creating the confusion is this ing. Okay, so Talking Tom, actually here talking is acting like an adjective. Okay, so let us take another example. You have Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty, so sleeping adjective. Okay, so if we say she is sleeping, she is sleeping. Now you can see the subject here is she is sleeping. Now with the help of the auxiliary verb, right? The helping verb is, she is sleeping. So this is the present participle. You can have present participle, past participle, perfect participle. So the confusion that is created is between the gerund and participle. So I am discussing the present participle. Okay, she is sleeping. So she is sleeping is the present participle. Is it clear? It's working as a verb. Okay, is sleeping is verb. Present participle form of verb. Now if I say sleeping is her favorite pastime. Sleeping is her favorite pastime. Here, this word sleeping. Okay, you can see sleeping here. You can see sleeping here as well. and you can see sleeping here. So here you have seen sleeping is functioning like a verb. It's a participle here. Here sleeping is functioning like an adjective, again a participle. Sleeping is her favorite pastime. Here sleeping is not functioning. This word sleeping is not functioning as a verb or adjective. Here it's functioning like a noun, which is a gerund here. Okay, so just to clear the confusion between present participle and gerund, okay, what you need to remember is gerund functions like a, of course there's ing, okay, after the verb, but gerund functions like a noun, whereas a participle can function like a verb or adjective. Is it clear now? Okay. Verb that take many, okay, so participles, look at the slide. Verbs that take many forms, derive from verbs and can function as adjectives or as verb phrases to create verb tense. So in this, if you look at the board, she is sleeping. So this verb form, the present participle form of sleeping, is showing a present continuous tense. She is sleeping. Or you can talk about a used car. Okay, a used car. Again, adjective describing the car. Okay, what sort of car? Used car. Okay, so you only need to remember this. Gerund is the ing form of verb that functions like a noun. Okay, and participle is when you have verb plus ing, okay, it can function as verb as well as adjective, other than like gerund. Okay. Okay. Now let us read the following text. Look at the slides. So this is one part of a composition written by a student of class 6. So this is one of the paragraphs that I received, okay, and this is one like okay. So the recent English essay writing project initiated by the Department of Education. So during that, I happened to look at so many of your write-ups. So I've taken one of this, so to discuss the types of sentences. So cooking my favorite food with my dad. Okay. So this sentence, look at the different highlighted sentence. So my favorite place in the house is the kitchen because I love cooking. And my favorite moment is cooking with my father. I believe that if you cook food with someone you love, it tastes much better. My favorite dish is spaghetti because it has noodles, tomatoes, and lots of cheese. I love adding cheese in everything. When I grow up, I want to open my own restaurant with my father. Now look at the sentences in this paragraph. My favorite place in the house is the kitchen because I love cooking. Now what do you find here in this sentence? What type of clause is this? Do you remember? My favorite place in the house is the kitchen because I love cooking. This is a clause, no doubt, right? Now can you tell me which type of clause is this? Did I hear you saying dependent clause or independent clause? Of course, it's independent clause because this can function as a separate sentence. And my favorite moment is cooking with my father. Now there's another independent clause. My favorite moment is cooking with my father. And these two independent clauses are joined by and, right? So this is an example of a which type of sentence? Yes, it's a compound sentence because you have two independent clauses, right? Now look at the next highlighted part of the sentence. If you cook food with someone you love, it tastes much better. How many clauses do you see in this sentence? Of course, two, right? If you cook food with someone you love, it tastes much better. But this one is little different from the first sentence, isn't it? Because here we can find one dependent clause. If you cook food with someone you love. I know you all know the answer. You have already learned this, right? So I'm just going to quickly review that. So if you cook food with someone you love, it tastes much better. So it tastes much better is a independent clause. If you cook food with someone you love is a dependent clause because something is missing. It's not complete in itself, isn't it? So what type of sentence is this? Yes, a complex sentence, right? And then look at the next part. My favorite dish is spaghetti because it has noodles, tomatoes, and lots of cheese. What do you think? What type of sentence is this? See, if we break the sentence, my favorite dish is spaghetti. Okay, this is a clause which can function as a separate sentence, isn't it? My favorite dish is spaghetti. Now the next part, it has noodles, tomatoes, and lots of cheese. Again, this can function as a separate sentence, and these two are joined. This is what you find two independent clauses. So this is an example of a compound sentence. Then the next one, I love adding cheese in everything. Just one clause, isn't it? You have the subject and verb, okay, and the clause is independent, right? I love adding cheese in everything, and so this is an example of a simple sentence, okay. And the last one here, when I grow up, I want to open my own restaurant with my father. So when I grow up, again something is missing, isn't it? Can we use this clause as a separate sentence? Of course not. When I grow up means you want to say something, isn't it? So this is a dependent clause. I want to open my own restaurant with my father. So one dependent clause and one independent clause. And so this makes a complex sentence. So in this paragraph written by a student of class 6, we can find compound sentence, simple sentence, as well as complex sentence. Okay. Now let's look at another one. Okay. Okay, this is written by a student of class 7. So I have taken the first paragraph of an essay written by class 7. I particularly like this first paragraph. Okay. Like the saying, see, wherever I live, I shall feel homesick for Tibet. For me, the most beautiful place in the world is Tibet. Tibet is a very peaceful country. The mountains in Tibet are covered with snow and they look like glass tubas. When the sun shines brightly like a diamond, snow starts melting and we could see crystal water running from the mountains. Okay. Now I have taken the first paragraph as written by the student. Okay. So I am going to discuss. I have only indented the first part, the first line. Okay. Wherever I live, I shall feel homesick for Tibet. So the saying, so wherever I live. So do you think this functions as a separate sentence? Is it a dependent clause or an independent clause? Wherever I live means you want to say something, right? I shall feel homesick for Tibet is an independent clause. So you can consider this as a complex sentence. The second part, for me, the most beautiful place in the world is Tibet. The sentence is not very short, but still this is a simple sentence, okay? Because this is just one single clause and that is independent, okay? Tibet is a very peaceful country. Again, another simple sentence. Then the third here, the mountains in Tibet are covered with snow and they look like glass stupas. So the mountains in Tibet are covered with snow. We can take this as a separate sentence, though it's a clause in this sentence, but this can function as an independent clause, right? A separate sentence. So this is an independent clause. And see, they look like glass stupas. If we look at the next part, they look like glass stupas. Again, this is a sentence, right? A clause that can function as a separate sentence. So this is again independent clause. So two independent clause clauses joined by the conjunction and. So, this is undoubtedly a compound sentence. Here I just want you to focus on how the student had made use of a literary device, which we will discuss later on in our later sessions, but I just wanted to highlight here. The mountains in Tibet are covered with snow. We can imagine, we can visualize, isn't it? And they look like glass stupas. So, the snow covered mountain is compared with glass stupas, isn't it, using like. So, what type of literary device is used here? The senior students might be able to understand that, right? The simile we will discuss later. So, then you have the next part, when the sun shines brightly like a diamond. I particularly like this. So, a lot of literary device used here. So, when the sun shines brightly like a diamond. So, the shining of the sun here is compared to a diamond. Okay. Snow starts melting and we could see crystal water running from mountains. A good use of imagery here. And then type of sentence, if we focus on, see, when the sun shines brightly like a diamond, it's a clause, isn't it? But we can sense that something is missing, right? It's not complete in itself. So, when the sun shines brightly like a diamond, what happens? Snow starts melting. Okay. So, up to here, if we break this sentence, this can be a complex sentence, isn't it? When the sun shines brightly like a diamond, snow starts melting. If we stop this sentence here, this will be a complex sentence. But then it is not complete here. It continues further. Snow starts melting and we could see crystal water running from the mountains. The second part, after the comma, snow starts melting and we could see crystal water running from the mountains. What do you find here? Two independent clauses, isn't it, joined by and. And before that we have one dependent clause. So, what type of sentence is this? Two independent clause and one dependent clause. If you remember, what type of sentence is this? Yes, it's a compound complex sentence. Okay, so this is a very good example of a compound complex sentence and a very beautiful use of imagery as well as simile. Okay, this is written by a student of class 7. Okay, let's look at the other text I have. Okay, this is another extract I have taken from essay written by a student of class 8. Okay. These days, and in this particular text, I have done a slight modification to serve my purpose in order to get the type of sentence I want to discuss. Okay, I'll tell you which one is added by me, rest all are written by the student. These days, one of the most played games on phone is PUBG. Do you play PUBG? I guess many of you play PUBG, right? So, do you think this is a good game? Okay, this particular sentence is added by me in order to help you get idea about one of the type of sentences based on function. Okay. So, these days one of the most played games on phone is PUBG. What type of sentence is this? Of course, this is a simple sentence. And the second part of the second sentence, do you think this is a good game? Again, a simple sentence, but based on function. If you remember, this is a type of interrogative sentence, the sentence that poses a question, isn't it? So, I have deliberately added this sentence in order to help you get idea about or review interrogative sentence. The next sentence, many people say it is not good, especially for kids, because once they get addicted to the game, they'll stop eating food for this game. So, I want you to focus on the underlined part of the sentence. Many people say it is not good. Okay, based on the function, can you identify what type of sentence is this? Many people say it is not good. A statement, isn't it? Look at the function. It's a statement, or we can say declarative sentence. Especially for kids, because now look at the other part of the other underlined part of the sentence. Once they get addicted to the game, they'll stop eating food for this game. Now look at this. Once they get addicted to the game. Is it a clause? Of course, right? They'll stop eating food for this game. Now this part can function as a separate sentence. They'll stop eating food for this game. But the previous part, once they get addicted to the game, this is a dependent clause. Once they get addicted to the game means something is missing, right? You need to add something. The information is not complete. So this is a dependent clause. It has to depend on some other phrases or words to make sense. So they'll stop eating food for this game. Now this is an independent clause because this can function independently. So this part, once they get addicted to the game, they'll stop eating food for this game. This is an example of a complex sentence. I also used to play it when I was in class 7. Okay, if we break this, this can function as a simple sentence. But now I have no interest in it. Okay, so this becomes a compound sentence. So, and then if we can break this sentence, because this sentence can be modified in order to change the type, like the structure. So when I was in class 7, if we start like this, when I was in class 7, I also used to play it. If you break it like that, then we get a complex sentence. Okay. Moreover, it is not good for my health and mind because it creates a lot of anger and frustration in me. Okay. So it is not good for my health and mind. We can break it, right? It creates a lot of anger and frustration in me. Again, another clause, independent clauses joined by because. Okay. So if we like sometimes a sentence can be reframed. Okay. The structure can be reframed in order to get the different types of sentences. Okay. Look at the next part of the same text or composition written by the student. Okay. Look at the slide. Those who get addicted to the game become desperate and frustrated when not getting mobile. Okay, so I can modify or restructure this sentence. I haven't done actually. Those who get addicted to the game become desperate and frustrated when not getting mobile. Instead of, if I can write like when they do not get mobile. So we can get a complex sentence. When they do not get mobile, they get desperate and frustrated. So, or you can say like those who get addicted to the game become desperate and frustrated when they do not get mobile. So, we get a complex sentence. So, these habits can be very dangerous. It's better to change these habits now. Okay. So, like the student has use of a comma. Okay. These habits can be very dangerous. Independent clause, isn't it? It's better to change these habits now. Again, independent clause. So instead of a conjunction, the student has used a comma. Okay, so we can add that, and then this becomes a compound sentence. So I have added another part here in order to get the type of sentence I wanted to discuss with you based on the function. How wonderful it would be if people stop playing PUBG. Exclamation mark I have used. And so this becomes a type of exclamatory sentence, right? How wonderful it would be if people stop playing PUBG. Exclamatory sentence based on function. Okay. Please stop playing PUBG. Again, this is the addition I have made. Please stop playing PUBG. So I am making a request. So what type of sentence is this based on function? Yes, affirmative sentence. Okay. Making request, making like giving command, order. Okay, I assure you that you will be much happier without them. This is students' own write-up. The students, I assure you that you will be much happier without them. Simple sentence, right? If you are happy, your loved ones will be happy too. If you are happy, dependent clause. Your loved ones will be happy too. Independent clause. So this makes a what type of sentence? Complex sentence, right? So this is sort of, okay, I have like brought examples of a write-up from class 6, 7 and 8. And you might have noticed as like from class 6 to 7 you find more use of complex sentence, right? Compound, complex. And then in class 8 you have seen the use of compound complex sentence as well as complex sentence. Okay. Even the good thing to see that even in the write-up of class 6 students, I can see more number of compound sentence than simple sentence. So it's very important you understand the different types of sentence and make use of these different types of sentence to beautify your write-up, right? So thank you so much. And I think after how much break do you need? I think it's a long session, I feel. 10 minutes. After 10 minutes break, Gitin Thargila will begin his next session. Okay? Thank you.